Hello and welcome to another episode of FinTech Focus TV with me, Toby. We are here at the FIX EMEA Trading Conference in London, and it is my great honour to be joined by the legendary Dr. Robert Barnes. How are you, sir?
Tony, it's a great pleasure to see you again, sir.
Listen, you've been on the show before talking all things FIX. It's great to have you back on at the moment. A new guys, a new world that you're in now, BPX. I've been seeing it, I've been watching the journey, see you pop back into life again at the moment. Lots of fun stuff. You've been on the panel earlier on talking about digital assets, a space and a panel which everyone's talking about at the moment. I heard it went really, really well. We're going to unpack that in a second. Before we do it, tell us a little bit about BPX.
Well, thank you very much. So BPX is building a digital securities exchange for real estate funds, issuance, trading, and lending to serve as dematerialized and tokenized securities.
Fantastic. Are you going well?
Well, we are close to getting authorization from the FCA to service the dematerialized for settlement into CREST.
Yeah.
And we are very honored that the Bank of England and the FCA in January accepted BPX as the first trading venue or stock exchange into the UK's digital security sandbox.
Congratulations. And this is your sort of journey. So obviously the Turquoise journey was spectacular for you over there. You sort of then did some consulting work. Tell me a little bit about the origin story. How did it all come about? Where did this come from?
Well, to tell you the truth, in March 2018, I had the privilege to go to a Treasury event which was highlighting the rising stars of FinTech. And I met a gentleman by the name of Ali Saliker, who himself had built a platform end-to-end for individual fractional investment in real estate on the mobile phone, AML, KYC in 4 minutes. But what really impressed me was, as a startup, he had connected to the bank payment systems at a time well ahead of what we know today as open banking and faster payments.
Yeah.
So we struck up a relationship, and he asked me to consider becoming a non-executive director, which I declared through compliance, and we did. I think what was the catalyst for us to launch BPX, which is an institutional offering, is the Law Commission's report on digital assets, which was ultimately published in the summer of 2023. Could 800 years of property enforcement ownership rights apply to digital assets? And the conclusion of the report was digital assets are different to a fixed thing or a moving thing, but the common law could accommodate. Wow. And then you had, in September of 2023, the Electronic Trade Documents Act, which said that anything that a person can endorse, INDORSE, like a legal term, on paper can be done electronically. That means today we can originate and consummate legal contracts completely on the fly. So when you consider the new world where we have distributed ledger, smart contracts, the ability to come up with new straight-through processing efficient workflows, and the fact that digital assets are now being confirmed by the steward of the common law to have property rights was very interesting. As we come into 2024, there were two other very significant legal moves by the UK. The first was looking and learning from the pioneering EU DLT pilot in Europe. The UK, and I must say, the Treasury did a brilliant move. They actually passed into law on the 8th of January 2024, the Financial Market Services Act, which effectively enacted the digital security sandbox, a glide path into production subject to oversight by the Bank of England and the FCA. And then in September of 2024, the Digital Property Rights, the Assets Bill, which is going through Parliament right now, all of these legal moves together mean that institutions, as they go through governance committees, risk committees, can now point to the clarity of the law to make tokenization part of a mainstream workflow.
I love hearing that, because I think this country's been relatively good at creating a framework for people to be successful within this. I mean, I've been excited for years around the whole concept of digital assets. We've seen various hype cycles of where it goes. You were there on the panel earlier on. We heard from Madeline earlier talking a little bit about what went on. But from your point of view, Tell us some of the takeaways of that particular piece, because it feels like, I mean, I know you're going to talk about this in a second, but it feels like there's a really exciting time right now for this space.
I think if there was one takeaway message is now is the time.
Yeah.
Now is the time to start embracing digital assets and tokenization. Now, if someone were to say, well, what does tokenization mean? I tend to think of two things. I think of the benefits of tokenization compared to securitization, right? Yeah. So let's see, if I lift in my pocket, I might be able to find something. Okay, so a £5 note with Churchill on it, right? This technically is public money from the central bank, from the Bank of England. But if I put it into a bank account, it's no longer my money. I now have a credit relationship with the bank. Yeah. And let's say the bank raises 100, they keep 10 of capital, they've lent out 90. If they want to continue business, they might package that 90 and sell it. That's securitization. Yeah. So when Lehman went down, there was the generalization that who owed what to whom. Yeah. When you put things on a distributed ledger, you have traceability, so you get rid of that problem. Also, when you sell an asset, you get your money the same day, so you can actually increase the velocity of money. So that is the kind of model benefits of tokenization. Yeah. But what about the manifestation of tokenization? Here, I've got an asset. If I put it in a limited company as SPV, a depository receipt, an ETF, a fund, that is the unit that I can now process through the existing workflow that most of the community here at the Fixed Trading Conference already have. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? And there's this crossover. You were there, and a number of different people have spoken about the T+1 panel earlier on. And there's a natural crossover with this as well. Expand on that.
Wow. Well, Andrew Douglas has now been in charge of the technical committee of the UK Accelerated Settlement Task Force for T+1. Yeah. And there was a major event on the 20th of February 2025 where the industry gathered to hear that after the Chancellor has said that T+1 is now part of the growth agenda and the City Minister has said T+1 is the priority for the UK, Sasha Mills from the Bank of England stood up, the FCA stood up to tell the community that as 11th of October 2027 is the target date, firms will be, as part of their supervisory discussions, asked, are you budgeting and automating for T+1? Yeah. Because the lessons from the United States was that, as we heard from the actors in the United States, in some cases, people were added to make T+1, and in some cases, increased cost. Whereas here, we have the opportunity to automate the process. But what I thought was fascinating was in our digital assets panel, the call was now is the time because you have the legal foundation on which to build, the technology enabled to manifest it. In the T+1 event, you had get started now because that is the mandate. Yeah. Now, when we think to the other big industry initiatives like going live for MiFID or MiFID 2, that was a starting line, just like this starting line is here, where institutions can work together. They don't have to worry about being a cartel or in collusion, right? They'll all be budgeting. It'll be a non-discretionary project. So perhaps, in addition to T+1, we can also bring the benefits of tokenization at the same time.
Yeah, which is the perfect collision of it all. And I was out at the Fix America's trading conference back end of last year. It was really interesting sort of hearing the lessons from that. And that's a really fascinating advantage, a really great opportunity for Europe to basically learn the lessons from there and take it further forward. And will we learn them, or will we be complacent about it? Will we do the standard sort of thing when regulation comes in and just suddenly say, right, we're panicking now, we've got to catch up with it? You're absolutely right. You're saying that like, now is the time and get started now. Those are two things that collide perfectly to do this sort of thing as well. Very exciting. Talk to me about the company BPX and your sort of journey then. So there's a lot happening now. You mentioned it at the offset. If you're excited about a couple of things over the course of the next few months, I know it's going to be a big few months for you.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what's coming up. What can people expect to be seeing, reading about, hearing from you about?
Well, I would say firstly today, we're very honored to be here. I mean, the Fixed Trading EMEA conference, it is the largest single day gathering of electronic trading experts in the world that are interested in UK, Europe, Switzerland, and Middle East. Yeah. And BPX, we are focusing on being a UK regulated entity. We want to become a global champion of best practice. and we're focusing on an asset class that is giant, and particularly that part of the asset class that is not serviced by stock exchanges today. We think stock exchanges do a fabulous job, but we're looking at real estate asset class, 3 times the size of equities, double the size of fixed income. Historically, a great uncorrelated asset to add to portfolios for diversification, but today, quite expensive, quite analog, very difficult to access. But with all the innovation that we have in the community, where if we can use the benefits of dematerialization and tokenization to bring access and liquidity to this asset class, everyone can benefit.
Robert, I can't wait to see it all unfold. I can't wait to have you actually into the studio to talk about this in more detail. It's wonderful to see you. You're looking incredibly well, and I'd love to have seen the panel. I'm looking forward, and I hope we got some tape of it all, because I know it's been a great conversation.
Great to see you, Tony. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
And thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon on the next episode of FinTech Focus TV. Thanks a lot.